Hey guys, I know it's Wednesday, but we're not doing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns recap because I haven't watched it yet because, well, real life stuff is getting in the way. I won't say what it is, but as far as when it'll be over, let's just say the jury's out, if you know what I mean. Anyways, so tonight, however, what we're talking about, I'm just going to do a quick video on this. I actually don't have as much to say about this as I thought I would, but essentially, earlier in the week, the other big card game franchise from Japan, Cardfight Vanguard, said that they'd be announcing what was next for them. For those of you who don't know, Cardfight Vanguard, like Yu-Gi-Oh!, is a card game anime, and when their first series ended, they did a sequel series. And so a lot of people assumed that with this announcement, we would be getting the next sequel series. And considering the fact that Cardfight Vanguard started out strong, but for many people, myself included, kind of dropped off, and then Cardfight Vanguard G felt lackluster at best, I think a lot of us were sort of hoping maybe this new reboot would be what fixed things. You could start fresh, you could go in an exciting new direction, fix some problems with your game that the G era created that I don't really have the energy or desire to go into right now. We did not get that. Instead, we got that they will basically be rebooting their whole universe, and I don't know what you really call what they're doing with the actual card game itself. I didn't read all the details, but it sounds like if you have an issue with power creep, here you go. But essentially, they are just starting from scratch. They're going back to their original characters with their original iconic units. This was a big disappointment to many people, because as some people know, there is a fan manga that Bushiroad actually endorses, or got involved with, I don't know the full details there, that features a girl protagonist who uses a different clan that actually plays very differently, because I think it's like it doesn't, the cards don't inflict damage when you attack. I thought this would have been a great idea. I don't have faith that Bushiroad would have the balls to go for a girl protagonist, considering Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't, but I was hopeful because, well, if anyone remembers when I did a Cardfight Vanguard review a couple years back, I brought up how I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Zale was as good as it was because Cardfight Vanguard created legitimate competition. Now, many people liked Duel Masters back in the day, and Bakugan has its fans, but those things were kind of in their own little bubble. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has essentially been in its own universe as the top of the food chain as far as card game animes go, as also being one of the top card games in the world. Cardfight Vanguard actually posed a threat. Now, granted, it came at a time where Yu-Gi-Oh! Was sort of had a little chink in its armor, similar to how Dragon Ball Super is sort of filling a niche, as many people still are kind of having some issues with Yu-Gi-Oh! Thanks to Spiral and Zodiac format being back-to-back. But essentially, actually kind of lost where I was going. But essentially, Cardfight Vanguard created this sort of opposition, and Yu-Gi-Oh! Had to up its game, at least as far as its anime's quality went. So I was hoping, especially with Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns in a very unstable position, a new Cardfight Vanguard anime might actually fix things. I do want Yu-Gi-Oh! To have competition, because it means we as the consumers win, because it means that they have to compete harder for our attention. My first thoughts on rebooting the whole thing and starting over is, this is a very bad idea. Coming off the fact that G was not overly well received, it has its fans, and from what I know, it does get better as it goes. But G was not the runaway hit that I think they would have needed or that they necessarily wanted. Going back to the beginning sort of feels like we don't know where to take things, we don't know what to do with things, so we're going to do the safe option. We're going to go back to what works. Now, Yu-Gi-Oh! Also has a bad habit on relying on what works with the constant use of the the original characters. We just had that Kaiba Legend collection come out last week. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not guilt-free in this, but the problem I have with just doing a flat-out reboot is that no one's really going to be talking about it. You're not going to get anyone new in. You're not really going to get people interested. You're not really going to show anyone that you're willing to fix things. Just relying on the nostalgia of, you remember this, you liked this 7 years ago, I don't really think is a good idea. I think that you really need to, and I keep saying this with Yu-Gi-Oh!, you can't rely on your old tricks. You need to constantly push the envelope. We are in a very full anime climate, and with how much we just have things of all forms of media thrown at us so much these days, you need to really try and step things up. This is why I kind of would like to see a girl protagonist or do a clan that's different. When I see things going back to the way things were, you may get some people who are nostalgic, but I fail to see how this will actually bring in anyone new. Now, yes, there will be people discovering the game for the first time and all that stuff, but all around, I don't really think Cardfight Vanguard as a franchise resonates enough with people that going back to its original characters who aren't that old and not that particularly beloved in the same way Yugi is or Goku is or Sakura from Card Captors is, that you can just bring these characters back and everyone will just be on board with it again. I really think Cardfight Vanguard needed to up its game, and my worry is that if something like this does work, we might see Yu-Gi-Oh! Think, well, let's just reboot and go back to Yu-Gi and crew, which I don't want. I want these franchises to move forward. I want more creativity. I want more diversity. I want more plot insanity. I want more risks to be taken, and I just feel we see it too much now. Just go back to what works and never deviate, and I think it is a bad move. But that being said, if you are a bigger Cardfight Vanguard fan than I am, because I'm casual, I don't even entirely know if doing the changes they made to the card game with the way some units are structured is necessarily a bad idea. I don't know if the fact that it sounds like it's going to be moving to a Magic the Gathering style block rotation format is a bad idea. I don't really know how to process any of that because I just don't keep up with its metagame as much as I do with Yu-Gi-Oh! But just my overall thoughts, I think this is not a good idea. And I think it will, and I think in my head and my interpretation of things, I think it's a sign of weakness, and I think it's a sign of things going in a very downward spiral. But what did you think? Maybe you think it's a great idea, and if you do, that's fine. Obviously, we won't know anything till it happens. So tell me that below, and as always, click to like, click to subscribe, and if anything interesting comes out about this, I'll let you all know.